This is episode number 381 of WP Watercooler, WordPress Plugins, the good, the bad, and the ugly, apparently. Brought to you by ServerPress, Maker's Desktop Server that make local WordPress development easy. Check them out at serverpress.com. And Patreon. Go to patreon.com/WPwatercooler where you can support us over there. We'd really appreciate that.
Hey.
I'm Jason Tucker. I'm an IT director. You can find me at Jason Tucker on Twitter.
I'm Steve Zengit. I'm the founder of Zeek Interactive, and I run the OC WordPress Meetup.
I am Say Reed, and I make WordPress, teach WordPress, preach WordPress at Say Reed Media on all the things.
Jason Cosper, a.k.a. Fat Mullenweg.
Hey, if you want to help us out, go over and leave us a review on wherever it is that you listen to podcasts. Is it Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, any of those sorts of places? Feel free to go do that. Good job, Steve.
Yeah, I'm a computer professional. I absolutely know how to work a mute button.
Somebody had to fill in for Jason today. I don't know.
I was going to say, wait, one of us has messed that up every single time so far.
That's all right. I got your back.
Oh, man.
Happy birthday, Jason.
Happy birthday to Jason, our fearless leader.
It's his birthday today.
Yay!
Has watercooler ever fallen on your birthday? I can't talk to that.
So I don't think so because we moved it in the middle, so it probably screwed it up when we moved it from Mondays to Fridays. But yeah.
Well, thanks for spending your birthday with us.
Yeah,
of course. I've done this twice now. This is my second show of the day, so I'm doing great. Woohoo!
Well, thank you for this one anyway.
Of course.
I can't speak to your other activities for the rest of the day, but I appreciate the time spent here with you on your day of your birth, the anniversary, not the day, the anniversary of the day.
I was going to say, the day of his
Welcome
birth.
to the world.
Yep. So today we're going to be talking about WordPress plugins, the good, the bad.
Plug it in.
And you know, Steve did something this morning that really cracked me up. He shows up and he says, "I have a list."
I cracked you up that I was prepared. It only took 381 episodes.
I don't believe it. I haven't seen it yet, and I don't believe it.
All right, well, I'll share the list for.
There it is. There it is.
He literally did homework.
Wow.
Now the show's only half an hour, and we're about 3 minutes in. So
I mean, the real reason is I asked Jason, how do we organize a show like this? What determines good and bad plugins, right? What categories are we going to discuss? Like, some plugins are good and bad all at the same time.
I kind of wanted to talk about, so can we talk about how this got started?
Yes.
I always find our origin stories to be the most interesting part of our, how did we come up with this random topic? This spawned from two different conversations that we were having. One, which was Jason sending us a screenshot. There it is. Sending us a screenshot of Jetpack. An admin notice from Jetpack in a WordPress install with a flag that said, "Warning, some of the plugins installed in this repo might affect your security. Get Jetpack to like prevent that." And there's a whole host of conversation that can be had around that, but we talk about Jetpack a lot, so thought we'd lump it in with all the other stuff. And the other conversation that we were having, what? No.
I was going to say, do we talk about Jetpack on this show, or do we dedicate an entire show to Jetpack?
Oh man, we totally could.
Well, I mean, at least from the admin notification point of view. The other conversation that we were having, it was about something that Cosper found, which he shared with us, which was an article on one of those best of plugins lists that HubSpot had done, and it was basically a takedown of one of these. And even though it was supposedly a recent best of article, it was basically a rehash of a very old article and included as best of options plugins that, mostly from Code Canyon, plugins that were very old and abandoned, essentially, and would not work with the current version of WordPress, but they're still being listed as the best of. So those topics came together.
Those articles are my favorite because the Google search always has the article date of today, right? So you can tell they're doing something to update it every day, right? Inside of Google, they tweaked it, but the article's probably 5 years old. Yeah,
right.
Well, they actually bought it from Casper. Do you want to talk about it since it was the article you shared?
I mean, I shared it like weeks ago. I can't remember all of the details, but it was basically one of those general WP news sites that does a lot of, here's the 5 best this, here's the, 20 best themes for January of 2021.
Yeah, right. But actually, that even wouldn't be bad because it'd be like themes that came out in January. It'd just be like, but for January, like themes to use in the month of January, as opposed to like themes that came out in January.
How often do people change their themes?
I don't know. Weather themes for fall.
So I would rank the bads. I would rank probably the first thing that makes a bad plugin for me. It could be a theme too, but a bad plugin for me is when the use of the notification bar is so excessive that I just can't figure out how to get this to actually stop. Like I can't get these things to actually go away. I've tried all sorts of different ways of making them disappear, and I get calls from my clients saying, why is this thing popping up? There was an update that happened, which now updates are automatic if you have them turned on automatically, and now new things are starting to pop up on the screen.
Yeah, I agree with you, right? So UI interruptions is a great category to I think those are
interruptions.
Yeah. And so, I mean, there's some plugins that will not only give you a bunch of notices, but also try to sell you other stuff inside of the notices area. And that's awful. I think there's another plugin that actually allows you to hide admin notifications, right? So if you have that problem with one plugin, you can install another plugin to hide the other plugin's mistakes. But
the alternative title for this episode was "Good Plugins Gone Bad."
Yeah, but actually, Jason,
what's happening.
Jason, I'm going to also lump in there just sort of bad UI, right? Things that just don't make sense from a WordPress standpoint, right? So plugins that alter the UI or have their own UI, or even worse, add to the UI, right? And one of the ones that I think of when I think of UI flaws is Yoast, right? Because you install Yoast and right away you've got new UI all the way throughout your dashboard, right? Especially those additional columns it adds to posts and pages. Those drive me nuts because what that does is it changes the column width, and so if you've got your post titles become like one letter in a long column all the way down, and that's fucked, frankly.
It looks really bad. It doesn't look good to a user using that. For sure.
Yeah.
I ignore it because I know what it is, but yeah, it's bad.
But you guys
add things to the admin bar, and all of a sudden there's stuff in your admin bar that's new.
Well, but it also then, now that you've added stuff to the admin bar, it now wraps the admin bar into the top part of your site, right? Mm-hmm. So you now got too much stuff in your admin bar. Sorry, you were going to say something, Casper.
No, I was going to say those little Yoast cartoons are just so cute, though.
Oh, God.
And they're not annoying at all.
Good branding. I actually like them. I think that's really good branding. If you see someone in that style of logo, you know they work for Yoast. So, like, in terms of branding, I think that's great. It doesn't make up for UI sins.
Yeah. No. Yeah. And now, don't get me wrong. I'm not knocking Yoast. I use every website I have uses Yoast. It's one of our go-to standard plugins because it is the sort of the go-to for SEO in WordPress, right? But there are Yoast flaws. UI is one thing we pointed at, but it also affects your site speed, your dashboard speed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, dashboard speed, smashboard speed, but like, it also, I don't want to get too far down the Yoast hole, but I love the fact that Yoast makes SEO sort of, it's like a teaching plugin, whereas other plugins are not like that. So this one's like, oh, let me nudge you to do this stuff, and that is wonderful for clients. And I have had clients who just get obsessed with their little green lights and like, making it all work. And that's really good for their site, honestly. So it's not bad to put that effort in, but it also can be really confusing because especially with Gutenberg, it can be in a different order depending on where if you've got custom post types or if you have a plugin. Now all of a sudden you're like, Yoast is at the top and like things are at the bottom, and that can get really confusing.
Now, Yoast is aware of these UI issues because they allow you to turn off the stuff that appears in the admin bar, right? And so some of the better plugins that are out there allow you to say, I want this to appear in the admin bar. I don't, right? So they give you that option, but by default, they do crowd your UI.
Yeah,
and there's plugins to crapify Yoast as well, so it could hide all those things if you want to.
I have them. Yeah, I wrote a whole set of scripts that I just install with every site that undoes some of the Yoast UI.
Yeah. Well, the ones that really get me are those Code Canyon plugins that you'll find on a site that will have a bunch of like,
excuse me,
like you'll see that they do a bunch of like before and after things around the around like the menu bar, or sorry, on the left menu. It'll show like a different color around it, or they'll put a little sparkle thing.
Oh yeah, so not good.
No joke,
oh god,
my
god.
Flag going through it, like it kept trying to like get you to like click on this thing, and I'm like, you're not that important. Like I don't understand why. Like you're not doing anything that's that important, but you're wanting to have like full presence right on that left bar there in the dashboard. And it's like, really?
Sure. It's like, bro, I installed you for share icons, and that's all I need. I don't need this whole visual flash.
Is that how you address your plugins, bro?
Hey, bro.
Yeah.
Especially your social share icons for sure. Yeah, I mean, actually, that's the thing. You don't want, like, if you're using a plugin, you've already installed it. Like, it's there. Like,
yeah, I bought it.
Like, it's like they're trying too hard.
I bought in.
It's like you took someone out on a date and they're like, so do you want to go out? And you're like, aren't we right now?
Yeah, stop selling. Yeah, stop selling. I've already installed. Yeah, you got me.
Send me an email.
Jason, along those same lines, there's a whole category of plugins that I encounter, that I don't necessarily endorse, but I encounter.
You don't date them. You just meet them.
That allow you to customize the admin interface, like Adminimizer, WP Disable. There's a whole category of plugins that I just avoid because I think they do more harm than good. I think the purpose is to simplify some of the admin, but sometimes they take out critical things that you need.
I'm actually using Adminimize. I think it is.
Adminimize, yeah.
Minimize on a site where it's a custom post type that is part of a directory situation, and I needed to strip every last living thing out of the back end of the admin UI. Had to strip it. So I tried. We talked about this last week. You missed that conversation, but I tried to make everything at least somewhat doable in the admin. So I'm using. I suppose I could have done some hard coding to strip that stuff out, but that way it's just easier and it's in there. So I am using it.
I'm not saying. I'm not saying it's bad, right? I'm not saying don't use it, right? I'm just saying by default, it does some things, and it is easy to turn things off that you may need. And I also think it's got a lot of overhead.
I think that type of plugin, which is also like custom post types UI, CPT UI, they can be so great and so powerful, or even ACF. They can be so great and so powerful, and if they're in the wrong hands, they can just literally shred your site. Like now you're like, I don't even know what I've now destroyed at this point. So I have not done that.
It's funny you mentioned that one. So CPT UI, I actually love that plugin, but I only use it for setting up and having a GUI for setting up the custom post type. But then it's got a tab that will write the code for you. Right?
I love that. And so when you're done with the mockup,
you export the code, you put it in your functions file, you get rid of the plugin, right? You don't have that overhead anymore. So it's a great design plugin is what I consider it. So
I agree. I think that a plugin that's like intended to do its thing and then get out of your way is like the best plugin.
So ACF, I have a love-hate relationship. ACF is a plugin I use on every single website. We love it. We love what it can deliver, but talk about overhead. I mean, there is a lot of overhead there. And in addition, ACF has made some critical mistakes over the years, because when they've gone from, say, version 2 to version 3, and I think this happened on version 1 to version 2, their major versions, they actually make major changes that are not backwards compatible, right? And so as you upgrade ACF, you actually may have written stuff in an older version of ACF that just no longer works. And so that's one of my beefs with ACF. But from an overhead standpoint, it's pretty beefy, and it does add a lot of additional database stuff that is just something to be aware of.
Yeah, and that's what I mean when I say, like, if someone isn't aware of that stuff and just gets a hold of it, and a lot of these plugins are almost marketed that way, like, oh, you can just add a thing, just add whatever you want. But it's like, they're more complicated than that. These are like kind of hefty tools. It's like the difference between a hand saw and a table saw.
Yeah.
Or
go ahead, Casper.
Some other fancy saw.
I was going back to the UI notices. Something that really kind of takes the jam out of my donut is when I have a plugin that's upgraded, and then it says, it basically says, hey, I noticed that you haven't opted in to our telemetry that we're using, so we can gather data about how this plugin is used.
So gentle. So gentle with that. They're like, gosh, it's so good to see you here. Did you want to maybe click this button? We won't bother you at all. We just want to spy on all the things you do. If it doesn't matter, do you mind? Can we just have that? Thanks.
To which Casper responds, bro.
Yeah.
Bro. No, bro.
No, bro. No, bro.
No. I feel guilty when I say no, but I do say no. I don't call them bro, but I'm like, yeah, no, sorry.
I wanted to, I wanted to say one more last thing on ACF before we close that out. Is there's a newer thing in ACF where you can actually create your own custom blocks using ACF. So they have a block creation engine inside of ACF.
That's amazing.
Avoid this at all costs.
Oh, yes. I haven't used it. I thought we talked about this the other. You were like, you could just build your block with ACF.
Yeah, no, it does work as advertised, but your site is going to crawl it's just going to slow to a crawl.
Why?
It's just the overhead on that on the way they've implemented this is big. So just avoid it.
Sad.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
That's all right. I haven't used it. Why the hell would I make another custom block? I don't want to do that.
What's your favorite social plugin?
No.
None of them?
1, 0. Why is it that social plugins get bought and rebought and unbought and bought again and resold over and over?
I wrote this as a category, and if I had to pick one, I'd probably go with Monarch.
Oh, from Elegant Themes?
Yeah, Elegant Themes. That's probably the most, no pun intended, that's probably the most elegant one that's out there.
Nice.
It's a well-built, well-designed plugin, and it has been for a long time.
So is Divi. Divi is too.
Whenever I have had to, I've had a conversation with someone about social sharing buttons, helping friends set up sites, little like client work I pick up. I ask specifically, I say, hey, have you ever clicked on one of those sharing buttons on a site? And if they say no, I say, you don't need them on your site either, because someone will copy the link from the browser and fire it over in an email or a text message.
Or they will literally just if they're on their phone, they're just going to hit the share button and do it through the phone.
I do think it's antiquated. So the whole technology is antiquated. But I have a couple of the categories here. I want to ask the same question.
I love that you have categories in this list. This is like literally the most work you've done in 8 years.
And we only had a half an hour, so I had a lot of notes on this one.
This is intense.
What's your favorite? What's your go-to forms plugin?
I feel bad about this one because I had some run-ins online with the owner, but Gravity Forms, I still love it.
That's your go-to? Yeah.
I like Gravity Forms too.
I use Ninja Forms for sites that don't have a huge form need. Like it's like not an integral part of some component of their site, and it's just like a contact form or an easy form. Yeah, I have Ninja Forms for that.
I have 3 listed, and I actually use all 3 now. And and none of them are Contact Form 7. But Gravity Forms, Ninja Forms is fantastic, and then WP Forms. Yeah. The reason I like the last two is I think the interface is just slicker than the than Gravity Forms, right? Both.
I'm not going to use WP Forms because same problem with Opt-in Monster. They're like, "Hello, I'm going to take over your UI now and put notifications everywhere."
They do that a lot, and if that bugs you, go to Ninja Forms because it's a great team that is. That programs that plugin, and it's a really slick interface. But what I like about both Ninja Forms and WP Forms over Gravity Forms is they actually give you starting points, right? Which Gravity Forms doesn't do that. Gravity Forms, you set up a form and you just have a blank canvas. Ninja Forms and WP Forms, they say, okay, here's some forms to start with. Are you doing one of these things? And so you click contact form and you're done, right? So the things that would go in a contact form are there. But I also like their
it saves you like a whole 3 minutes. It's so great. Yeah.
I also like Ninja Forms and WP Forms third-party integrations. So if you're doing anything with, say, ActiveCampaign or HubSpot or MailChimp, their integrations are I think personally slicker and better integrated than Gravity Forms. Not that it doesn't exist in Gravity Forms, but
Ninja Forms is a great integration with Zap. EA. No one knows how to say that.
I think it's Zapier because they are Zaps. Yeah, they're providing Zaps, so they're Zapier.
Zapier makes you happier is what the way that they describe it.
Is it? Okay, good. I'm going to always remember that now. Zapier makes you happier. So Ninja Forms has a great interaction. I had to actually loop something through there for a client who was using a text messaging thing. So someone got a thing, and then those two things couldn't talk to each other. So I had to run it through a Zap, but ran it through Ninja Forms to the Zap because we needed all the data, whatever, and then over to the text messaging software. And it was great. So their integration with Zap is super easy to use and super integrated.
I've got 3 more categories.
All right,
yeah, security.
Oh, yeah, that one's easy. We could get this done real quick.
Well, there's a bunch of them.
What are you using these days?
Well, so personally,
I kind of want to know.
I still like Security, but I've got a more kind of recent fondness for iTheme Security Pro, and I have
I thought about iThemes in a really long time.
iTheme Security Pro is pretty comprehensive and really well done. And then I have some clients that use WordFence. I'm not saying I like it. I've just brought it up, right? For me, it's a.
Why do you hate WordFence, Cosper?
It's a love-hate relationship. But yeah, tell us.
It sucks butthole. I'm sorry to go so blue.
How specifically does it suck butthole, Cosper?
I mean, it's just the overhead on it. People love to set up the activity log on their site, and then they end up just inflating the crap out of their database.
Cosper, they just on a scale to 1 to Jetpack, how much is
it? It's I mean, on a scale of 1 to Jetpack, it's at least a Contact Form 7.
I would definitely check out iTheme Security Pro if you haven't yet. It's well built.
I've run it on a few sites and it's nice.
Put that back up, Jason. Did Jetpack update the text since you took that screenshot?
No, this is what Matt Medeiros. I always throw Matt Medeiros on here.
It was Matt's.
It's Matt's. Matt.
So what did they update? Wait, I want to know. I didn't follow this up.
Well, I'll send you the link so you can take a look at it.
Next category.
Okay.
Backups.
Oh, backups.
I mean, why are we just jamming through these? So
because we only have 4 minutes left.
No, I know. These are like whole area exploration.
Is any plugins you like for backups?
Not no mo. I only work on managed servers these days.
I do as well. But if you had to pick one, I kind of like WordPress. Like what they're doing?
Oh man, I used to use WordPress for sites, but it got so tangled up with Jetpack. And then when they switched over, there was such madness in like, no, you have a Jetpack account. No, you have a WordPress account. It like unbacked up or unhooked itself from a client site without even realizing it. And so I'm really unclear on what the Jetpack WordPress relationship is now. And one is, I think WordPress is inside Jetpack now. So then I don't want to install all of Jetpack just for WordPress and blah, 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 blah.
I'm with you on this one. I'm not using any of them. This is just this. So this isn't recent knowledge.
It used to be my go-to because it was so clean and easy.
Which one?
WordPress.
Yep.
Until they got submerged into.
My last category is and I don't use these as well. My last category is caching.
Oh man.
Oh well, same thing. Like I'm not installing caching plugins anymore because of managed hosts. I'm
not, but if I had to, I'd probably go to WP Rocket.
I've heard good things about that. I can't recommend a backup or a caching plugin because my answer would be get the hell off of your own host.
And I think the reason is
get onto your managed host. And
I think the reason is what we're talking about is software caching, right? Which none of us really subscribe to, right? We want something that's more server level caching, right? And so if you have to do caching at the plugin level, WP Rocket is probably my favorite, right? There's other ones like Total Cache, Super Cache. I just don't recommend those.
They're basically
again.
They used to
Casper,
be.
Yeah,
those used to be
I know
great.
you're shaking your head, Casper. Just for the people who are listening to this on audio only, where did you shake your head?
No, I was shaking my head at Total Cache. Just stay away from that. There are just too many options. There are too many options, man. Like it just bogs you down in the number of things that you can set. I have watched people try to set up like, okay, well, what do I need to set for Memcache and Redis and it's like you again, bro, you don't even have this on your plan.
And that's and that's why I like WP Rocket, because those things, it's way more user friendly than the other plugins that are out there.
Should be like cache, yes or no?
Yeah.
These are the answers we need here. But honestly, seriously, yeah. Who's not on I guess who's not
lots
moving
of people
host right now?
Unfortunately, lots of our listeners.
That is a crusade I am on, and I will die on that hill.
I have had there are a few people who I know use W3 Total Cache just because it has Redis support and
with all the words in it.
The state of Redis support. If they're like, oh, okay, I want to enable Redis support on my site, but I don't have anything to possibly there is a great plugin out there, Object Cache Pro, Till Cruz, who is basically what came at things from the Redis side before he came at things from the WordPress side. I mean, he has made a fantastic plugin, and Redis Cache, I believe, is his free one, right, Steve?
Yeah.
Redis Object Cache. That one is great too if you don't feel like paying for Object Cache Pro, but if you can float it's so good that he can charge $80 a month for this.
Yowza!
Wow.
And unfortunately, when you go to objectcache.pro right now, it looks like his SSL cert needs renewal, so his site's down at the moment.
Oh, it opened for me.
Yeah, it opened for me too.
That's weird. I get a secure connection failed. Maybe
it's just type in on the keyboard. I know Irony. This is
irony because she's a security plugin.
Yeah, but I really if that's the only thing that's keeping you on a something like Total Cache, like go grab the free Redis Cache plugin. Yes. It's miles better, and then look at something like WP Rocket. Look at something, if you can't afford WP Rocket, look at Speed Booster Pack is nice for an entry level. There's Cache Enabler, which is from the folks at KeyCDN. That one works well. Like you can do
a whole
this
episode of Casper just talking about all of these.
This is great.
We should do it on its own.
We should do it on its own.
We can call it Back That Cache Up. You heard it here first. It's next week's episode, folks.
And with
Back that cache up,
bro. We didn't really talk about it, the worst ones. Maybe we do that on another episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if we didn't,
I got a
talk
whole
about
list of those. Oh, look, it's a Bernie meme.
Oh, what a day.
Folks, I want to say
life
thank you for hanging out. I appreciate it. Enjoy the podcast. I you know, as always, really enjoy having you guys leaving us feedbacks and whatnot. If you want to leave us a feedback, go to send us an email to feedback@WPwatercooler.com.
Yeah, tell us what you think.
Yeah, please do. And talk to y'all later. Have a good rest of your day.
Hey.
What's your favorite song? Support us over on Patreon.
Hey.
Patreon.com/WPwatercooler.
Hey.
Fine folks that are helping us out over there.
Hey.
Appreciate that.
Hey.
Hit the subscribe button, click the notification bell so that you are notified when we do go live on YouTube. And lastly, listen to us as a podcast. Go over to WPwatercooler.com/subscribe, where you can subscribe to this podcast in an audio format. See y'all later. You have a good one.
Hey.
Hey.
Hey. Hey. Hey. Hey. Hey. Hey.